Hello, and welcome to this evening's edition of Microsoft Flight Simulator X Steam Edition Twitch broadcast brought to you by Dovetail Games. My name is Amy, and I'm the brand manager here for all things flight simulation here at Dovetail. And I am joined by Martin in the chat. Say hi, Martin. And we have a very special guest with us today. This is Lewis from A2A Simulations.
Good to be here.
Thank you for joining us, Lewis.
No problem.
So, a lot of you out there may know A2A Simulations and what they do, but for those of us who don't, Lewis, can you tell us more about A2A Simulations and what you guys do?
Yeah, sure. We create add-on aircraft simulations for Microsoft Flight Simulator X Steam Edition for the hobbyist user, and we also create simulations for the professional market as well. Okay,
exciting stuff. Have you guys been doing that for long?
Yes, the original company started in 2003, and we've been creating add-ons for Microsoft Flight Simulator since 2004, for the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2004. And prior to that there was Microsoft Combat Flight Simulator 3 and some other smaller projects, but the real bread and butter of the company is now rooted in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And currently Microsoft Flight Simulator X Steam Edition.
Awesome. So you guys have essentially been working with FSX since FSX came into existence.
Yes, we were heavily into Microsoft Flight Simulator 2004, and then in 2006, when FSX was very first released, we naturally moved up to the next platform. Yeah,
so you guys have a lot of experience doing what you do then, and
yes.
Yeah, well, we're happy to have your titles on Steam. So Lewis, let's talk about you. What's your role in A2A Simulations?
Well, I stopped any active development in probably 2008, and since then I've been helping to manage several things and also run all of the support via our popular online forums. I also do all of the marketing and general sort of project management and making sure that customers are happy, making sure that people on the team are happy, and making sure that everything's still rolling day in, day out.
Awesome. Sounds like an all-encompassing role.
Yes.
All right. So what are some of the add-ons then that A2A Simulations is best known for?
That would be our Accu-sim simulations, proved very popular, and then the Accu-feel, which was a global enhancement for Microsoft Flight Simulator X, and now coming up to be Microsoft Flight Simulator X Steam Edition.
Yeah. For those of you who haven't seen on our social media feeds, Accu-feel is coming soon to FSX Steam Edition. I mean, it is, like your role at A2A Simulations, an all-encompassing add-on. So, I mean, pictures, you can't really show it too much in pictures. So, so we have here a video that you guys made when it was first released that would explain a bit more about what it does. And
this is a video from Scott, the owner of A2A Simulations, and he does a damn good job in telling us and explaining exactly what Accu-feel is, because as you say, you can't show it in screenshots. Really, it has to be in video form.
Yeah, all right. So for those of you at home watching the stream, if you have any questions as we go along, please feel free to ping them over, and Martin will pick them up, and we will be doing a Q&A at the end of our session. And here's the Accu-feel video.
Hello, this is Scott Gentile of A2A Simulations, and we are proud to announce the next generation of Accu-feel, version 2.0, Air, Land, and Sea. And just like its predecessor, Accu-feel version 2 enhances Microsoft Flight Simulator X at its core. And since Accu-feel works beneath the surface, both stock and third-party aircraft can benefit without having to touch a single file in your FSX directory. Now let's give a quick demonstration of the new features in Accu-feel version 2, Air, Land, and Sea. When it comes to modeling the way an aircraft flies through the wind, most simulations lack a certain feel to the way the aircraft responds. So what we have done is we've created some new wind modeling. Now what Accu-feel does here is we enhance what's already there. Here we're flying into moderate to heavy turbulence. Accu-feel adds a sense of feeling and physics to the way the aircraft is responding to the various wind conditions. If you've ever flown in turbulent weather, this is very similar to the way it feels. Now let me show you how this new version of Accu-feel enhances your experience when on the ground. But first, let's try a landing without Accu-feel. Now I'm intentionally slipping so I can have a hard, heavy side load landing. That was a hard landing, and you really couldn't even tell. This is full right rudder and full left rudder. You're really not getting any sense of what the aircraft is doing. Okay, now let's do that again, but this time with Accu-feel enabled. Now we're just going to drop it sideways right in this runway. Good. See the way those tires dig into the pavement? We're barely hanging on here. We also have that physics on the grass. We almost lost it. Now you could really feel that aircraft and what it was doing. And that's what this is all about. Now before I show you the next major feature, I'd like to give a quick tour of the user interface because this is the heart of the program. Here at the very top we have global settings. This is where you can globally turn Accu-feel on or off. Also, we've broken it down into sections here. You can disable the air section, land section, or sea section globally as well. Master volume. This is the overall volume of all Accu-feel sounds. And here's the global turbulence slider. This slider adjusts the strength of the turbulence for all aircraft. Just below is the aircraft section. This can turn Accu-feel on or off for specific aircraft. Clicking on Aircraft Default resets all the values. Here is the sound volume control just for this particular aircraft. And this checkbox is for aircraft with open cockpits. Now to better organize Accu-feel, we broke it down into 3 different sections: air, land, and sea. Accu-feel does its best to configure each aircraft automatically. However, you can change any of these variables to your liking. Okay, stall AOA is the angle of attack at which the stall buffet will occur. Here we've already slowed down to just above stall speed. We're holding the stick back. Keep holding it. Release the stick, and we resume. Stall instability makes the aircraft less stable once it's in the stall condition. VNE Max Mach is for the Mach buffet effect. This is from Ron Zambrano at Razbam. I'll just turn this into a nice fast dive. You see we're already pushing on the Mach buffet. The next slider produces a similar effect, except it's triggered by indicated airspeed. Wind volume controls all the different types of wind effects. This adjusts the sound level for your prop or turbine when you open up your canopy. And here is the drag rumble that happens as the air passes over either your landing gear, your flaps, or a speed brake if so equipped. This also adjusts the sound level of fuselage-induced drag.
Over G, over G, over.
Below here, you can even fine-tune the turbulence if you want. This is turbulence chop. This simulates those ripples in the air that rapidly hit the airframe. This simulates those larger gusts of wind that can be pretty challenging, especially on final. And clear air turbulence. Clear air turbulence is a condition that is very difficult to detect with a naked eye or radar. Moving the slider to the right increases your chances of hitting that unexpected pocket of turbulence. Here in the land section, you have your cabin integrity. Moving the slider left gives you a looser cabin with more rattles and squeaks. shock absorption. Moving the slider right is smoother, left is more stiff. Brake squeal creates various brake squeals based on the size of the aircraft and how you hit your brakes. Tire screech is the point at which each tire touches the ground, and based on the size of the tire and the speed will create a dynamic screech sound. I'm going to try to place my left rear tire on the runway. I have to bring down the nose wheel. Also take a look at the dynamic ground physics here. And lastly, the side forces slider, as demonstrated in the previous video with the 172. Now below in the C section, you have water drag. This is sort of self-explanatory. Move it more to the right, more drag when you're on the water. And just below that, we have wave size and wave speed that controls the new wave physics that we'll show you in just a bit. If you select the auto checkbox, Accu-feel will automatically create waves based on the wind condition. Unchecking this box allows you to set the waves manually. And lastly, you have your save and exit. All of this information is being saved outside of FSX in your Windows Documents folder. Our goal is to make Accu-feel simple and even transparent to those who just want to fire it up and fly, but also allow full control to you, the customer. Okay, let's move on to the final major feature. For the seaplane lovers out there, Accu-feel has improved the water physics. Accu-feel simulates the waves based on the weather. You can look down the bottom of the wing here to get a better look. As we showed earlier, you can also select the waves that you want for the aircraft. Okay, let's take off. The first thing you'll notice is the drag on the floats. And trying to push through and get on the step. So, as speed increases, you start to skip on the waves. We want to take advantage. There we go. There we go. Now we're airborne. Now I'm going to put this back down and pretty much just drop it right into the water. Alright, let's accelerate again here. Start to skip in the water. There we go. Okay. Now I've raised the flaps to pick up speed. I'm going to try to make a nice, easy landing. So you can really feel the way the aircraft is interacting with the water. Take off again here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this aircraft into a descent, and then I'm just going to go controls neutral. Okay, here you go. As we're coming off the step, now we're slowing down. For existing Accu-feel owners, we have an upgrade option where you can apply your full purchase price towards this new version. So for just $5, you can upgrade to version 2 Air, Land, and Sea. Okay, that concludes our video. Here at A2A, we wish everybody a happy, safe, and successful new year. Take care.
All right. So that's Accu-feel.
Yep, that's Accu-feel.
All right. So again, Accu-feel is coming soon to FSX Steam Edition. Now, so Accu-feel essentially enhances the physics of FSX, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So is it just default aircraft then that can be used in?
It can be used on sort of essentially most of the add-on aircraft as well. So you can use it on all the default aircraft in Flight Simulator Steam Edition, but then you can also use it on all sort of 99.9% of your add-on aircraft from whatever you happen to be using. And as you saw in the video there, you get the slider screen, and you can set it up as you see fit. It will default to certain settings. The program will detect the aircraft you're flying, whether it be a big iron bird like a passenger jet or a little GA aircraft. It will detect that,
Okay.
and then it'll add its own settings in, but you can change that to your heart's content then.
So you can have different settings for different aircraft then.
Yes, yes.
All right. Wow. Cool. So that'll be another exciting A2A Simulations addition to the FSX Steam library, and we already have one out. It's the Piper J-3 Cub. So can the J-3 Cub be used with Accu-feel then?
Accu-feel tends to be turned off when the J-3 Cub is in use, simply because the J-3 Cub already comes with Accu-sim.
Okay, so what's Accu-sim?
Right, Accu-sim is our, just like similar to Accu-feel, it's our own custom technology. Accu-feel was born out of the wanting of our customers to essentially Accu-sim more than just what we were putting out. We weren't able to put out enough Accu-sim aircraft because obviously it takes a while to make them and whatnot, and people already have their favourites from various different developers, and they wanted a hint of Accu-sim in these aircraft. They wanted some enhanced physics.
Okay. So the Accu-sim range of aircraft then has been built with Accu-feel technology specific to that aircraft?
Yes. So what we tend to say is Accu-feel is a hint of a full Accu-sim pack, but for your entire hangar.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. So we have the Accu-sim J3 Cub out now from you guys.
Yeah.
Physics engine aside, how else is the Piper Cub different? The A2A Simulations Piper Cub rather different from the default Piper Cub included in FSX?
Right. I'm not going to go through too much of it because we'll be here all day. But basically, Accu-sim is everything you see in Accu-feel plus a whole lot more. So, for example, the entire engine is modelled on the Cub. If you were to go into the code, you could see the cylinders going up and down, spark plugs sparking, and the entire internal combustion engine is actually there in the code.
Oh wow!
Working.
So it is literally like an aircraft, a real aircraft.
Exactly. It's a living, breathing aircraft that you fly. And then with Accu-sim, not only do you fly it, but if you fly it badly, it will react badly for you. And also, as you use the aircraft, even if you shut down the computer, when you next start it up, you're the one putting hours on that engine, and it will wear and tear as you use it.
Yeah. If you want to see an example of bad flying, you can see what happened to the J3 Cub when I flew it in the last Twitch stream. Those 100 tires. Other than the Accu-sim engine, though, the J3 Cub, I mean, obviously you guys put a lot of emphasis on realism. So the Cub, I assume during the development of these add-ons, you guys spend a lot of time with the actual aircraft.
Yes, we're one of the few developers out there that will spend time with the real aircraft. We have our own test flight routine that we, wherever possible, we do firsthand. Scott, the owner of A2A, is a fully certified pilot, and we own an aircraft.
We?
Comanche.
So he was a company. Wow.
Own a little Comanche at present, and we've got an Aerostar as well, just to help us get around essentially to the various exhibits.
Traveling in style, I like it.
So yeah, we test fly the aircraft wherever possible. We get the data from the source, and then we get back to the office. We have the GoPros recording the gauges, recording the vibrations.
During flight?
During flight, yep. During the test flight process, how does it store, which way does it dip a wing, and all the rest of it. And then we get all of that data and essentially put that in the simulation via our Accu-sim technology.
Wow, that's impressive. So if you want to get the most realistic simulation available for Piper Cub, it's this one then?
Yes.
Awesome, wow. So I mean, that sounds like a pretty hefty process. I mean, how long does it take to develop something like that?
From the absolute beginning of us talking about which aircraft to do to it being available to the customer, is 6 months to a year, depending on various things. Obviously, development is a pretty dynamic process.
Yeah.
you aren't going to hit bumps in the road. So yes, 6 months to a year from actual inception to release.
Oh, yeah, that's impressive. And I know you guys have a really good reputation quality-wise. So
Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Speaking of A2A aircraft, we had a couple of releases today from you guys.
Yeah.
First up, we have the Hinkle HE219 Uhu, or Owl in English, if you prefer to use that. We will. That's also available on Steam at the moment. We have a couple screenshots for you. So the Uhu is a German World War II night fighter, and this add-on is part of your aircraft factory range.
Yep.
And according to what I have here, it's both modern and veteran warbird pilots helped create the feel of the flight. So you guys consulted pilots who had flown the real thing. And you have every single detail in there. It's all historically accurate. It's all clickable. And you also have some authentic engine sounds in there as well. Awesome. So there's a really good video if you go on fsxinsider.com. We have a kind of a preview of the Uhu in action.
Yes, nice little video there showing the lighting of the aircraft and some of the eye candy.
Yeah, it's an incredibly smooth aircraft. It is the absolute pinnacle, or one of the designs that was the pinnacle of German engineering in 1945. One of the first aircraft, I believe, with ejector seats. Very, very, very smooth finish and a bit of a speed demon, and built for a job, which was as a night fighter, and essentially one of the most successful night fighters of the war, even during its very short career. Yeah, wow. So definitely want to look out for on Steam as well. So we mentioned before, this is part of your aircraft factory range.
Yes.
So what's the difference between the A2A Simulations aircraft factory range and the add-ons like the J-3 Cub?
Right. The aircraft factory range is more a get in and go. It's a bit of a relaxed realism aircraft. You don't necessarily need to read the manual lots before you fly it. You can literally get in the aircraft, control E if you so wish, start up the engines, fire all the throttle, and away you go and have some great simulator fun, essentially in FSX. So yeah, that's our aircraft factory line. It's a get in and go, great fun aircraft.
Awesome. So do the aircraft factory aircraft have Accu-sim as well? Are they
don't have Accu-sim,
okay,
but they are all built with Accu-feel in mind. So you can add Accu-feel to it, and again play with them sliders. You can have it as a bag of bolts, as Scott said in the video, and make your night fighter sound like it's about to come apart. And
make good use of that ejector seat.
Exactly. And yeah, and just they're built with Accu-feel in mind, so you can plug in Accu-feel to them, and they will just work brilliantly, enhance the physics for you there, and just have an absolute blast flying.
Yeah, sounds good. Once again, the Oohoo. Check out more on fsxinsider.com. We also have our social media sites on the bottom of the screen for you, so you can get at us there as well. Speaking of today's releases, we have another one, don't we?
Yes.
It's a bit of a A2A Simulations bonanza over here. So today we also released 3D Lights Redux. We have a couple screenshots I'm going to show you on here. And Lewis, can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, 3D Lights is one of our, from its initial release, has been one of our most successful products. I believe that the initial release of 3D Lights was 2007. And since then it's evolved a little and it's turned into 3D Lights Redux.
So this is an updated version?
Yes, this is the latest edition of 3D Lights. It's one of our best sellers. It's very, very popular product, selling just so much today. So it's great to be able to bring this to FSX Steam Edition. And what it essentially does is that it turns your nighttime flying environment kind of up a notch. It replaces the default lights on all of the 24 included aircraft from Microsoft Flight Simulator X, or Flight Simulator X Steam Edition. It casts realistic light out into 3D space, so you get this awesome eye candy. It kind of makes you want to fly the aircraft from the external view. But of course you get that on all your AI aircraft as well. So what we've had in the past is we've had a lot of people plane spotting at night, because it's quite cool to sit yourself at Heathrow and just watch the AI aircraft come in and land at night, which is awesome. And as well as adding to your default aircraft, it then adds 40 whole new effects into the simulation that you can then manually add to your third-party add-on aircraft.
Oh, okay, so you can use it for third parties. Third-party stuff as well.
There is one little caveat to that. The way the lights are modelled means that you can only use it on the add-on aircraft that are modelled a particular way. In this case, the effects files have to be not included with the model.
Okay. Okay, so it works on some, not all.
Some, not all, yes.
And I believe you have a working list of what third-party add-on aircraft that it does work with on the A2A Simulations forums.
Yes, on our forums we've got, because the forums have been up since 2007, so you've got the entire history of the product on there. And there is hundreds of pre-made configs already on there for some of the most popular third-party add-on aircraft. And now it's out on FSX Steam Edition. What we'll be doing is bringing it, some of that data across onto Steam as well, so that Steam users needn't necessarily have to visit the forums. They can go into a Steam guide and find out how to add these to their favourite aircraft.
Good stuff, and I'm sure I'll stick it up on FSX Insider for you guys as well. Right, speaking of FSX Insider, it's time for the user-submitted questions. Ready?
Let's go.
All right, first off, we have from Paul R. via FSX Insider. Will A2A Simulations be developing products for the upcoming DTG flight sim, not as DLC or an add-on, but part of the core program, similar to what Lockheed and Coronado do in P3D version 2?
As it is right now, we are just committed to our existing platforms. So for the hobbyist market, that's essentially Flight Simulator X Steam Edition. We've talked about 3D Lights, Heinkel 219 and Accu-feel. What we've not talked about is that the other products that we are already in line as well for Steam Edition to come out, and that's where our focus is at the minute.
Okay, so sticking with FSX Steam Edition for now, but who knows what the future might bring. I know in the more near future we have some more A2A releases then for FSX Steam Edition.
Yes, it's looking like it's going to be a busy future from now to the end of the year and even beyond.
That's very good news. All right, we have some questions from you guys at Twitch now. We have from Boo Andre. I'd like to know what their next aircraft will be and if they will create any modern turboprop aircraft.
Right then. The next aircraft from us will more than likely be, we never say anything for definite, but it's more than likely will be the T6.
The T6.
Which is the old Second World War trainer.
Mm-hmm.
Scott has already been test flying the aircraft.
The actual World War II trainer.
The World War II trainer, yes, with legendary pilot Vlado Lenek. He's been training Scott on the T6 so we can get our from source data for the aircraft, and that's in full-time development at the moment. Regarding the turboprop, no plans for that at present. All focus is on the T6 and the Steam releases. But we can, we'll just see how development goes in the future.
Yeah, I'm sure in terms of flight simulation there are plenty of turboprops in the future, or at least I hope so. Right, we have a question from Sparks Smudge. Lewis, when is the Lancaster coming out?
Thank you, Sparks. No plans to develop a Lancaster at the moment. Sparks knows full well that's my favourite aircraft. But unfortunately no plans to develop one at present. I will continue to nag the team whenever I can to push for that development. Yeah,
the Lancasters were amazing aircraft.
Beautiful aircraft.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. This is from a Hungry Pilot. Will Accu-feel work with third-party weather engines, Active Sky, etc.? This question is actually particularly poignant as we are planning on releasing Active Sky next for Steam Edition soon. So, Lewis, will Accu-feel work?
Yes, it will. It will work. It works brilliantly with Active Sky, actually. Because of the transparency of Accu-feel, as you saw in the video, and again I'm going to bring up the sliders as you saw in the video. You can, if you find any aspect doesn't work or you don't like any particular aspect, you can literally just turn that slider down, turn it off, turn a certain segment off.
So if you don't like the way that the wind effects are coexisting with Active Sky Next, you can just dial them down.
Exactly. Okay. But what Accu-feel does, it works on what's already there. So Active Sky can give you some hellish turbulence that is very, very realistic. So you might want to tone down the Accu-feel turbulence if you think it's nudging it up too many notches, essentially.
Okay, that makes sense.
Or you might really enjoy it. You might find it's a realism you never experienced before, and you love going up in little GA aircraft in storms. I don't know. It's we've kind of left that one up to the user.
Yeah. Well, lots of people sim in different ways. So
exactly.
Let's see. Full metal gimbal. How about an A2A Accu-sim turboprop or twin prop? Sorry.
Twin prop. We do, not in active development, but we do have a twin in early R&D. Scott has already flew in initially the Piper Seminole, and we have got some initial source for that aircraft. If we do a twin, it will more than likely be the Piper Seminole, which is essentially the trainer twin. It's what most people get their multi-rating in. Yeah.
Well, around here we at Dovetail love a Piper, so that's definitely an exciting one. Looking forward to seeing that out. All right, this is DB Vetter. This is in reference to Accu-feel. Can you save a different configuration for every different aircraft you have?
Yes.
Yes, I think.
Yes, you can. What happens is all them sliders you get to play with, when you've finished playing with them, that is then set for that aircraft. Next time you load up that aircraft, those sliders will be set as you left them for that aircraft. So you can have a 172 act like a bag of bolts, and have a 737 really tight and not very noisy.
Yeah.
And each time you load them to aircraft, that's how they will load.
Okay.
And then should you wish to change that, just bring up the sliders and change it.
Awesome. Very efficient.
Yeah.
I'm looking very forward to seeing Accu-feel on FSX Steam Edition. Okay, so it looks like we have a couple similar questions. We have a Steve Kibberton. Sorry if I mangle your name, by the way. Will it work on? I assume these are both questions on the 3D lights. Will it work on the PMDG 777 and 737? And then we have Joey Craft 446. Will the 3D lights work with the PMDG 737, 777, or the Aerosoft Airbuses?
I don't actually own those particular aircraft, so I can't say for certain. I believe some of the newer ones it might not work, but the older ones it certainly does. I'd have to refer back to our forums to find out if we got the configs for the PMDG and the Aerosoft Airbus aircraft.
All right, so yeah, great. So the forum URL is it's at A2ASimulations.com, right?
A2ASimulations.com, yeah. And again, I will be trying to get as much as that information that's on the forums across to Steam as well, so that Steam users can have a handy Steam guide to instruct how to add these to the aircraft.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, we're really looking forward to having that on Steam. Get some started with some light effects. So yeah, this is a question from Thomas Linnett. Lewis, the Accu-sim aircraft of your dreams is? Lancaster?
Lancaster. Yes, the Avro Lancaster would be an absolute dream aircraft. But if that's talking about present aircraft that's already released, because I like the Lancaster and because my personal interest, although now it's just generally aviation, is awesome. I like it, all aircraft. All started for me with the old Memphis Belle film. So I used to watch that on repeat as a kid.
Yeah.
So if it's of Accu-sim aircraft that are out there right now, it'd be the Accu-sim B-17.
Ooh. Yeah, I just saw one of those actually at Wings and Wheels.
Yes. Awesome aircraft.
That was epic. Okay, another one from a Hungry Pilot. How does Accu-feel sounds and effects work when aircraft packages have their own sound packs? Will we be hearing duplicate sounds?
It'll obviously depend on the different sounds. For some you might hear duplicate sounds, for others you might not. It'll just depend, and again I'm going to refer back to those sliders. If there is any duplicate sounds you can hear, you can turn the sliders down.
So as you saw in the video, the Accu-feel experience is fully customizable. Yeah. So if there are any duplicate sounds, you can quickly
just
remedy those.
Zone them out, or we've actually got one or two users that prefer the Accu-feel sounds, and they do it the other way. They get rid of the sound pack sounds and turn the Accu-feel sounds up. It's fully customizable.
Yes. Good stuff. We have one from Full Metal Gimbal. Any plans on an A2A smartphone app?
I'm not quite sure I understand that question. No plans at present for any sort of phone app at the moment. I'm not sure what exactly you'd be after, but if you've got any ideas of something where you feel that you could benefit from something, I'm sure myself at A2A and Aimee here at Dovetail would love to hear.
Yeah, like a portable forum or a mobile forum.
Our A2A forums are actually fully compatible with the Tapatalk app, which is available for Android and iOS. So if you have
what is Tapatalk?
Tapatalk is a little forums app.
Oh.
So it makes reading forums on a mobile device a lot easier than having to zoom in and out all the time.
Yeah, you guys are way ahead of us. All right, the Sky Lounge. Similar to the partnership with Orbix, will A2A release any Steam Edition exclusives?
No plans for any exclusives right now. Obviously the relationship with Dovetail is still in its early stages, and I think we'll just be seeing how it goes, seeing how our add-ons are received for the Flight Simulator X Steam community. Hopefully they'll be received really well, and we can see about getting some exclusives.
Yeah, as it stands now, most, if not all, of the A2A fleet is compatible with FSX Steam Edition, correct?
Yes, having it on Steam is more the convenience at the minute for the Steam users, in particular for the Steam users that might not have ever used Flight Simulator before. I mean, there's an entire new user base coming in. But yes, all of our products for FSX are compatible with FSX Disc and Steam Edition.
Good stuff. One from the Sky Lounge again. Lewis, so the V-tail Bonanza lost out to the Comanche. Does that mean it's off the plate, or is there any glimpse of hope that this incredibly popular aircraft might end up with a slot in the A2A hangar?
No, there's no plans at present for a V-tail right at this second. We did do some early R&D on one, but that kind of fell by the wayside essentially, as various other things happened, and as I mentioned earlier, the way that development is so dynamic, various things pop up. But there are no plans at present to develop a full Accu-sim V-tail Bonanza, I'm afraid.
Okay, here's one, Mr. Sock Puppet. About Accu-sim, are there default configurations for popular planes? So can some settings be applied globally to all planes too? I think that's in reference to the Accu-feel.
Yes, right. The Accu-feel, when you load up your aircraft, it will determine which kind of aircraft it is. It reads the config files very quickly and just gives you a preset settings based on whether it's a twin or a little single J or 737, 747. And then you can play with the settings from there. So globally, it will give you a estimate of what it thinks might be the best settings for you. But this is just an estimate. It'll totally depend on how the configuration for the aircraft is. So if the configuration is slightly different, then it might get that a little wrong, and you personally might need it to be completely different. As we shown in the video with the DC-3, you might want a nice restored DC-3, or you might want a complete bag of bolts where it sounds like it's really rumbling and rocking.
Okay, yeah. So it depends on it is dependent on the aircraft type then.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we have a Amarillan. I'm presuming this will be Accu-feel version 2.
Yes, it'll be the absolute latest version of Accu-feel, and that will be available for FSX Steam Edition soon.
Yeah, we're all looking forward to it. Exciting. Average. I think that's. What kind of recommended requirements would you need to run A2A add-ons? Well, you would need a FSX for starters.
What we tend to say is any modern PC, if you can run FSX, you can run one of our add-ons. We tend not to give out too many system requirements because it's 2015. If you're going to buy a PC these days, it's going to be an i3, an i5, an i7. It's going to have plenty of RAM. And if you're playing games on it or simulations, it's going to have a video card, and that's all you need. So if you can run like Flight Simulator or a game, then you can run our aircraft.
All right, that's good to know. Let's see, another one from Full Metal Gimbal. Can you explain why there is no A2A helicopter for FSX?
Yes, I can. No one on the team has any rotor wing experience. That would be the easy
Fair
answer.
enough.
Essentially, we have no one to who knows how a helicopter flies firsthand.
Fair enough. I mean, you guys are the absolute in realism.
Thank you.
If you haven't experienced it, then so there will be no A2A Simulations frantic palm trees in the future.
Not just yet.
Let's see. So we have a couple of requests for you, Lewis. One from Clavra. Could A2A do a Baron 58? Or will A2A make a Cessna 152 model? That one's from FSX Global.
We have no plans for either of them. For the Baron, the first twin is looking to be the Piper Seminole.
Yeah.
And for the 152, we don't have any plans for the little 152 or 150 at present. We have the 172 that works great in FSX Steam Edition, and that's kind of the trainer that we have.
Awesome. So yeah, there is a Cessna out there. Let's see. FS Productions Live. Now I'm sure this has been asked and I'm a bit late, but what new aircraft do y'all have designs for? So you mentioned you were working on the Seminole.
Yes, there's the Seminole in very early R&D. If we do the twin, that's what's that first twin will be, more than likely. As I say, nothing is definite in this until it's in beta. We can show things, but we're never 100%.
That's a good rule to have.
Things change so often. And the T6 is the big next Accu-sim release from us. I mean, 99% certain on that one. Yeah, the T6 in the UK known as the Harvard, in the US known as the Texan, and that's what's being worked on presently.
Texan, close to my heart then. Okay, so Mr. Sock Puppet again. We have the. Are there camera additions with Accu-feel or plans to make them, i.e. EasyDock? So are you going to integrate camera?
Yes. We have no plans to do any camera work with Accu-feel. What Accu-feel does is the movements you're seeing, for example, in the video, is not actually camera movements, but aircraft movement. So what you get is the aircraft moving and your head essentially staying still. And obviously what ESDOC, I believe it was ESDOC that was mentioned, does is moves your head. So what you can do is get a really awesome effect of using ESDOC and Accu-feel, because then you get your head and the aircraft, just like in real life, moving independently from one another. And you get real awesome effects then with things like turbulence when you're flying in bad weather, because you can be all over the place. And as anyone who's been in a light aircraft through some nasty turbulence, it's not somewhere you particularly want to be, but it can be a bit of a nightmare situation, and you can really simulate that well with that combination. And
EasyDock is a Flight 1 add-on.
I'm not 100% sure if I'm
it
being
is
honest.
A Flight 1. It is a Flight 1 add-on. Okay. You can find more information on that at the Flight 1 website, which I believe is flightnumeric1.com. Cuddly Chops wants to know, will you be at Cosford?
Yes. A2A are not exhibiting at Cosford, but I will be there, all branded up what some have called the zookeeper outfit, walking around, and if you do see me, please do stop me, say hello and ask a question. And
yes, the Dovetail team as well will be at the Cosford show. It's this coming weekend on the 3rd from 10 to 5, I believe, at the RAF Museum at Cosford. Dovetail Games will be exhibiting, and yeah, drop by and say hi. Nice show put on by Just Flight and PC Pilots. So
it's last year we were both there last year, and it was an awesome show.
Fantastic. I wouldn't miss it.
Yes, the venue is amazing. The show is amazing. It's if you're in England, if you're in Wales, if you're in Scotland, if you're in Ireland, and or if you're in Europe and you can get to Cosford next Saturday, then you definitely need to get there for a good show.
Yeah, definitely. All right then. Any more questions?
Is that
all right?
Kalama?
I think all right. That's it. That's it for today, guys. Thank you everyone for joining us. For more information on everything that we've discussed on the show, we have our websites at the bottom, FSX Insider, or you can catch us at Facebook and Twitter. Thank you, Lewis, for joining us.
No problem. It's been a pleasure.
All right, and we hope to see you again soon.